Hello and welcome to MTG Vids. I'm Beta Sean, and for our inaugural video, I'd like to present to you spoilers for the new set MTG Origins. These are a couple of cards that have been spoiled already that have interested me for one reason or another. There's a few other ones, but we'll just get to the good stuff. Starting us off, we have Valor in Akros, which is an enchantment for 3 colorless and a white. It reads, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. I'm very curious to see the interactions between this and Monastery Mentor. Up next, we have Seismic Elemental, which is a 3 and 2 red, 4/4 red creature that says when it enters the battlefield, creatures without flying cannot block this turn. Sounds like a great setup for an Alpha Strike to me. Enthralling Victor, or as I call him, the Abercrombie model, is a 3/2 red creature for 3 and a red. It has a threaten effect attached to it saying when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature with power 2 or less until end of turn. It gains haste. Seems interesting, but for a threaten effect, I'd kind of like to get something that does a little more work than power 2. Avaricious Dragon is a 2 and 2 red 4/4 flying red dragon. Dragons have been sweet recently, however I think this one's a bit of a miss. It doesn't have haste, meaning it has to be in the battlefield for a full turn to even attack. Its abilities read, during your draw step, draw an additional card. That sounds fantastic. However, you must discard your hand at the end of your turn. So let's go through this. You play your dragon. End of your turn, you discard your hand. During your opponent's turn, they remove it. What did I just play? It just doesn't seem to hold the same value as regular old dragons have for the last couple years. I'd like to say I see where they were going with this, but unless you can find a way to protect it and keep it on the board, it kind of messes you up big time. Black has an interesting removal spell in Reeve's Soul. It's 1 and a black, and it says destroy target creature with power 3 or less. As if that wasn't restrictive enough, it's at sorcery speed. Very cheap, however, there are limitations. Deadbridge Shaman. I like seeing black elves floating around again. For 2 and a black, it is a 3/1 elf creature that says when it dies, target opponent discards a card. With a sack outlet, this could be instant speed discard. So far with the spoilers we've seen, this format seems a little bit overcosted and a little bit slower. Lightning Javelin at 4 mana will do your 3 damage old school lightning bolt effect. You do get to scry 1, but again, it's at sorcery speed. Bogart Brute introduces a new name for a mechanic that we have seen before, just in more words. It's a 3/2 goblin creature for 3 mana which has menace, saying it can't be blocked by fewer than 2 creatures. I'd be very curious to see what other creatures come into the fold moving forward that utilize this mechanic. Some of you may already seen Hicks' Prison Warden, an interesting card with another interesting mechanic. At 3 colorless and 2 white, he has flash, and says when he enters the battlefield, exile all creatures that have dealt damage to you this turn. This is very interesting. It gets around hexproof, but they do need to swing at you with multiple creatures to make this effective. How large of an Alpha Strike are we talking about? Hopefully big, but not big enough to kill you. So it's looking like this set is going to take a little bit more time to develop as the game progresses. Cards aren't going to have as insane a value at the lower casting costs that we're used to from some previous sets. However, I'm very interested to see what the next wave of spoilers has for us. Until then, this is Beta Sean at MTG Vid saying, good night.